Are you recording on the other thing?
Recording
Everywhere?
everywhere.
So I can just start? Sick. All right. No, I was just making sure the audio was recording already.
5 minutes in almost.
Fire. Anyways, and here we are. This is Talk About with Lust. I'm your host, Lust. And we've been recording for 5 minutes. We're lit. But so today we got a dope guest. It's a little bit it's season 2, I guess, according to Carly. And yeah, I guess it's gonna be a lot smoother, a lot crisper, a lot cooler. We're gonna dress better this season. You know, I'm not gonna come out of my I don't know, come out of bed and come to work type of shit. I guess I've been doing the whole other season. But anyways, we're here. It's another casty rainy day in sunny South Florida, but we have a cool ass guest. We've already talked for a little bit, so I'm pretty excited about our conversation. But I'm gonna let him introduce himself. Let him tell you guys what he does, and it's your light.
Awesome, man. Appreciate you having me on. My name is Impa Chilobo Kasangana. It's my fight name, Chilobo. I'm a professional fighter. I fight in the PFL, the light heavyweight division. Fighting August 4th in the semifinal in San Antonio, Texas.
Hell yeah.
And originally from South Florida, from Fort Lauderdale, and train out of Deerfield Beach in Miami.
That's dope. That's dope. So so you're gonna be? Is that your first time in San Antonio ever?
Nah, my second time in San Antonio.
Yeah, I've only been there once. I got a homie that actually tattooed my face.
Yeah.
He's from San Antonio. It's dope ass dude. Fucking, his name is Butter. Shout out to Butters in San Antonio.
Some butter.
But hell yeah, bro. So yeah, that's dope. Like, I don't know if you've seen our show and shit. Like, we got a lot of artists and like different things, but like we haven't had a fighter yet.
Oh,
and honestly, my whole life too, it's like I've always talked about fighting, and I used to do like POW boxing and all that shit just for fun. So it's just dope to actually talk to someone, you know, that's in it, like right now doing it, you know.
Appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm honored to be here. This is like the coolest studio I've been in. I've been probably 2 or 3 studios as far as
And it's all like locally or like
North Carolina, one in Vegas, and it was just kind of like very simple, clean, but not much going on.
I feel like a lot of podcasts, the layout is in general, it's like it's different when you're just like a local fighter, like a POW fighter and all that shit, and like and my thing is like I've always wanted to get into it, but the thing is like even when my mom found out I was in like POW, she got fucking pissed. I was never allowed to do football and shit like that.
Yeah.
But like to her, which is funny, like, and we've been talking about surf and shit. It's like a wave would hit you as hard as a fucking person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she didn't give a fuck about me surfing in a way.
Right.
But yeah, man, was that something like you were just like you had a passion for it as a little kid, or it came upon you like, oh, I can really do this, like.
Kind of both, right? So since like I grew up in a African house, my both parents are from Congo in Central Africa, so education was like the main thing, like education and the arts. So when I was a little kid, I was always obsessed with warrior culture, like kind of learning about myself.
Hell yeah!
When I was a little kid, my parents had these masks in my room, and I thought that was pretty cool. And I just always like kind of read like who wore masks, and I loved reading about gladiators, Spartans. It didn't matter what warrior culture it was, but it had me really interested, like to the point where I remember being 3rd, 4th grade, be like, God, like if I'd pray at night and be like, if I could be born another time, I'd be a warrior or like a soldier or something. I don't know why. And I just kind of I was drawn to it. But my parents were like, no, we don't do nothing with sports, nothing with fighting. And I would watch I'll turn the UFC on, but keep the volume all the way down. And then I'd flip like to National Geographic, like I'm like being like a good little kid. And then, man, fast forward so many years later, I was in college, and like when I was a little kid, I used to ask my mom, like, could I box? Or, you know, I found out Muhammad Ali and I have the same birthday. So there's like so many different parallels in my life, right? And I did a project on him when I was a kid. So you fast forward to college, and
and where do you end up studying college?
I double majored in accounting and finance.
So, okay, but what college?
Lenore Ryan University. It's a small school in Hickory, North Carolina, one of my favorite places in the world.
Yeah,
it's a special place to me.
I love the Carolinas. I'm actually going to be there next weekend.
Oh yeah,
yeah. My brother lives right outside of Charlotte.
Okay.
So I always forget the town, but I haven't been out there in a minute. But yeah, I love it. It's different out there, man. It's super chill.
For sure.
And it's like out of a movie kind of thing. You know, the woods and the houses and shit.
Yeah. It's peaceful.
Oh, dude, insanely peaceful.
I love it. Yeah, my parents live right outside of Charlotte. It's a small town called Ballantyne, which is like a South Charlotte area.
And how long have they been up there?
Just moved up in 2008 to Charlotte, and just kind of around Charlotte, but they've been in that area probably since 2012. I want to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, in college, you got into it, and then
Yeah, I was actually watching a fight on TV, and like I remember when I was a kid, I asked my mom if I could fight. She said, "Until you can pay for it on your own, you can't. You're not doing it." And I was in college, like, "Hey, I can pay for it on my own now." And I walked.
You never did wrestling or anything in high school?
No, I actually didn't grow up playing sports. I played college football, and I started fighting after college. I'm 29 now. I started when I was 24, but 23 turning 24. But I started playing football my senior year of high school, and I played in college, and then started fighting after I finished. And
That's
what I'm doing
dope.
now.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Nah, it's funny because yeah, my parents are the same way, but like it was just very like stereotypical ass shit. Oh, what's up? The nigga Ryan's in the house. But yeah, my parents are like super stereotypical. Like, and another thing is like I was raised in church, so like
Oh, yeah.
you're not allowed to really do a lot of extra sports and shit. Like it was always extra curriculum stuff, a lot of music, a lot of art. As you can see, this whole place is full of art and shit. But yeah, sports was like not one of the things I was really allowed to do other than baseball. And baseball to me, I loved it, but it was never a passion. And I kind of hate like living that whole stereotype shit.
Yeah.
So that's why like even like we were talking, like I've always been more into the extreme sports because dude, it's like, I don't know. Growing up, it always bothered me that people always said like, Josh, you just stay doing white people shit.
Right.
But the thing is, like in my head, like if anything, the more white people shit it was, it more attracted me because in my head it was always like we just never had the opportunity. You know what I mean?
That's real.
And it's like, so it's kind of fucked up to say it's white people shit, and especially in the thing. And it's funny that you even bring up all this like war, like mentality and all that. Cause even the reason I'm tattooed, I've gotten so much tattoos in my life, and I used to have huge gauges, is because I always felt like, even though there's not like those Mayans, indigenous kind of people in DR and shit, like I've always pictured myself as like an indigenous person. Like
Real.
I always had long hair, you know what I mean? Like I've even had the whole point that I was just fully dreaded and all that stuff. But are we good? Oh. But for the most part, it's like, yeah, like the more people kept telling me like, Josh, you stay doing white people shit, I just kept getting more invested in it, you know?
Yeah.
Because again, it's like, no, we don't have the privilege. Like you go, like I've surfed so many places around the world, and even like let's say DR, there's a surf culture already. Like you see people surfing, and the funny thing is like you can go there in a year. Like so I used to have a lot of surfboards, and if my surfboard's old, I'll give it to a little kid.
Yeah.
And I can go back a year, and these kids will rip.
No.
And it's fucking nuts. And it's like, to say it's like, again, like white people shit, it's like, bro, again, lack of opportunity. You go to Bali, the only people that are surfing are Americans or like Australians, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's another country that like those people really don't have the opportunity because there's no resources. Like there's nowhere to get a surfboard really like that.
Dang.
And they do have rental companies, but it's like, it's not their thing, you know? And then you go to Hawaii, there's a fucking surf shop everywhere.
Right.
And every fucking person surfs, you know? And again, they're not white, they're fucking brown as shit.
Yeah.
So it's like, so like me, like honestly, like I've always been like infatuated with like surfing, skateboarding, BMX, snowboarding, and all that other shit. So
I love that. That's super cool. Like that's kind of something that came up on me too, right? Like being a child of immigrants, parents moved from Central Africa and Congo.
Are you like the only child? Do you got siblings and all
I
that?
have a younger brother and younger sister.
Okay,
and, like,
okay.
We're all very different but similar. But like we get that comment too, like, oh, like you talk white or different things like that. And I said, just my parents raised me this way, but my parents also like really like I love them because they raised me to be limitless, right?
Yeah.
I didn't have to like, fit a box. Like I had to be this African kid from who's Congolese. I didn't have to be this African American kid who only likes what you think could be stereotypical, like Jordan and stuff. I was never interested in it. Like I wasn't a thing for me. I thought BMX, like a Viva La Bam. Like I remember actually I made that comment in school. What's your favorite show? Like Viva La Bam's like, man, you're the whitest black kid ever. And I looked at the guy like, what does that mean, right? I'm just going to West Palm Beach and I was like, right. So, but I used to laugh because I'm like, I'm just interested in so many things. Like I love farms. Like I lived on a farm for a while.
Dude,
I want to live like in nature. I want to like hunt, grow, and cultivate everything that I eat one day.
Dude, that's what I do all day.
And then like stuff like that. And it's like,
I've been a hunter now for 3 years. So it's like,
I love that, right? And it's like somebody's like, now you're a tattooed hunter. You're like, no, like I don't want to be like caught up in a box, right? I love what I want to do. I feel like life is too short not to be able to say like, God made us complex, so why not be free?
And then you see all these like people do that shit, so it's like, why the fuck wouldn't you try? You know what I mean?
Right?
It's like just because it's not part of our culture. And it's another thing is like I have people like, so I'm sure like from my look, you can kind of tell I'm Dominican. When I talk in Spanish to certain people, I speak like the Dominican dialect, but then people be like, oh, but you don't look Dominican. It's like, or you don't like move like a Dominican. And it's like, bro, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah.
Another thing is like 2023, bro. Like we're so fucking, again, children of immigrants moving to a different world, growing up with these type of people. So your life is gonna keep changing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're gonna develop to this new world. So it's like it's no way that we would continue having the same behaviors of our fucking native people. You know what I mean? So it's like I don't even know how to kind of place it, but it's like it's just being stuck into that, like you said, in a box, and it's just so much better to live outside of this box. Like I feel more fulfilled, like being this different Dominican, you know, as you would feel like as a different from being like the people in your country and shit. So it's like it's a privilege and it's also like a fucking curse because people always like quick to fucking call you out, like call you some sort of sellout or like, bro, that's weird. That's not what we do. But it's like, bro, you're fucking boring.
Right.
That's your fault.
Boring,
that's your
right?
fault.
Once you meet people too who look at like, I meet kids at shows or fights or something like that, right? And they'll ask me questions about my life, and they're like, "That's really cool." And they thought they never could do it just because they never seen somebody do it. Like, you love riding motorcycles, you love surfing, you love skateboard, you love art. Like I love gardens. So if any town I'm in, like if I find like a really cool garden, I'll go there. You know, but
you got a cool garden. You got the Japanese garden by you.
Yeah, the Murakami, right?
Yeah, I used to be an AC tech, and I used to take like my lunch breaks there.
Okay.
And I had like a year membership, and I would sit there, eat my lunch, and I would sketch.
Really?
Because they got so many like dope little bridges and waterfalls and all that shit, and like just draw. And I love drawing flowers.
Man.
So
That's awesome.
That place was dope. I love that place.
One of my really good friends that actually owned the restaurant Kapow Middle Bar in Boca, Miss Angela. She's like, she loves flowers, plants, and stuff. Told me I need to visit. One time I went, it was closed. I went to this place in Spokane, Washington, and these gardens were like the most. I could be there for all day. I was at a Japanese part that like just different types of like flowers from different parts of the world, and
it sounds
for hours.
You know, it's dope. So fucking it's pretty fucking random, but like, so most like Mormon temples, they have botanical gardens, like really dope botanical gardens. And there's a Mormon temple now. I mean, it's been there for a couple years, but when I was growing up, that wasn't around. But because I grew up Mormon, but like that temple is right there on 75, and they were like awarded like one of the best fucking gardens in Broward County and shit. So if you ever want to walk around that shit, and you don't have to be a member of the church to walk the property. Yeah. But like you can go see the garden and all that shit. It's pretty dope. It's fucking nuts. Yeah, it's a huge ass fucking temple too.
Really?
Yeah, and they got like a big ass golden angel on the top. It's like it's almost like a mausoleum kind of thing. Like it's fucking very. You can tell it's a fucking temple. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not like a regular little church.
No. Yeah, I love art, especially art with flowers. The way people put it together and like make them blend and that stuff like really.
Dude, I got flowers on my face and like. Yeah. And the flowers that I got on my face are like jasmine flowers, and it's like that's what Florida smells like in this rainy season right now. Like after it rains at night, it always smells like that jasmine smell. Okay. So I was like, and I've always like so I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna get these flowers on my face, and I drew it up. My boy didn't, but yeah, bro, flowers are the shit. Yeah. My grandma has like a whole fucking orchid garden and shit. Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because the other day I actually had to help her put a canopy over her flowers so that it doesn't get so much direct sunlight. And she was so fucking happy and shit. But besides all that, so before you got into like in college and all that, you never really fought before. You just started training for it.
With a little kid fights, like, you know, but nothing like I was organized training, wrestling, boxing. No, like I wasn't allowed to. I wasn't even allowed to think or talk about sports. Like I got into football because I snuck onto the team. And then my parents, like, shout out to them that they're the most supportive. Like my dad doesn't miss a fight. My mom is all in. My mom will tell me something about fights going on before I even know. She's like, did you know this person got or this happened? Or do you see the fight? I'm like, I didn't even know that yet. Like, we call her like mama coach because she tells you like my brother he played college basketball and now he's a coach at Tennessee.
And he's younger than you, your brother?
Yeah, he's 23 and my sister, she's 17. So
okay.
Yeah, they're
so you kind of paved the wave.
Oh, I tell
you made it easier for them,
right? I said the trouble that I got into, or the like the weird decisions, right? And like, but the cool thing is like my parents encourage all of us to be ourselves. You know, like, we have like of course a family construct, like how like they want us to carry, but like if you're great at it, go for it.
Yeah.
And like my parents are cool because like just coming from another country like your parents, right? It's like it's a little bit different. They're used to seeing one thing a certain way and how to make it in life,
Yeah.
and then they're like, why would you do a podcast? Why would you get tattooed? Like, there's so many things, but then they see people being successful in another world.
Yeah.
Like that's what's cool about my family, and like it makes me proud, you know.
No, that's dope because I mean, I can tell you, Caribbean parents are fucking rough, bro. You could be killing it in whatever you do, and they'd be like, bro, why don't you get a job at this corporate ass company and just work that and just be comfortable and get your pension and call it a day? It's like all this hustling and bustling, like, still makes them nervous, you know? Like, I'm an AC tech, and even to this day, my mom's always like, why don't you just like get a job in an AC company and start an AC company? It's like, bro, that's not what I want to fucking do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like,
yeah, I say like, nobody understands you, but like my mentor and I talk, Jonathan Logan, he'll say how the vision that you have was never given to anybody else.
Oh no, for
and
sure.
If you follow that, then you'll never know where to go, right? And it's like because some people just don't see it. Like, their vision was to get here, but you gotta take it a step further. You gotta go. My dad always tells me I have to do better than he did in my own light.
Yeah.
Right. And like he's done well. He's done his like own thing. Like he made his way. He's the first person to leave his country, but he's like, I want you to do your own thing and do it like be the best at it.
Full fledged.
Right?
It's funny because we were watching some documentary the other day, and the guy was like, fuck, what was I just about to say? But
the documentary.
No, he was saying something just like that, but it's more like into the dude. That shit just left my head right now. Not even about second generation. It was more like oh, there it is, gone. Pew. But yeah, man. Like even when I had a bar, bro, and it's like, and it was good. My mom would still be like, "You're just gonna get into trouble. That's a bunch of crazy shit. Just go back to school or something." It's like, no, man. This is like, I'm chilling, dude. Like, and even with surfing, like honestly, the reason I even, besides like becoming a father at a young age, like with surfing, I never really left too because, or never went too heavy to the extremes. Like I could have gotten a lot further faster, is because one, I'm like my mom's only like boy, and she was a single mom. So like when I first left to Cali for that little time, it was like I just didn't feel like she was ready to just be by herself with them because they just kind of drive her fucking nuts. And then there's no man in the house, so I was always like looking out. So like it took me a while to go back to Cali after the first time I visit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cause just for like support reason and shit. But dude, surfing's always been my full-fledged passion. Like we were literally just watching that shit like if I can sit and like even at a early age, I remember I used to be a rep for Quicksilver and I was gonna move to Hawaii. And I remember one time, one of my bosses like, I'm kind of scared for you to move to Hawaii because I feel like you'll get there and you'd probably just live on the beach and just surf and then just that would be your life. And and she's like, I wouldn't want to be the reason you pick that easy ass life like that. But yeah, man, that's just like. Like always like it was a heart and soul. Like is that like how you feel about this?
Oh, fighting, yeah. Like I have like many interests, but there's something special about fighting that you couldn't take it away from me.
Yeah.
Like,
and what's like your high off of fighting? So my thing is like, besides the fucking survival point of like getting out there, like my high of just the waves is just like watching them come in and out, like or just feeling like that first initial push of the set. Cause it's not even like catching the barrels and all that stuff. Like that's just so simple to like. Cause honestly, with surfing, it's not like you get barrels all the time. You know what I mean? So it has to be something that feeds you. Like, so what's the high of your of a fight for you?
A fight, man. It's like when it all comes together, right? Like you put the work in, and then I love being in the fight. It's really pure. It's peaceful in there. People like think, oh, it's crazy, it's chaotic. Like outside of the cage, life can be pretty chaotic. Like you don't know what's gonna happen, but in a fight, like. I can dictate where it goes, right? And I say, no, I'm called to be there. Like, it's like...
I've heard people even mention it, that it kind of gets kind of quiet, like...
It does. It really does. It gets, like, super quiet. There could be a whole crowd of people yelling, and I can hear my coach's, like, voice, like, he's talking, like, in this mic. Yeah. And he says, hey, like, you good? Like, we go back and forth. I've had fights where it's almost like they're not there, but you're in a different kind of, like, state. But, man, when you're in a fight and, like, somebody wants to... You know what they want to do. I know what I want to do.
And do you study the fighter before you fight him?
Yeah, we do. Yeah. I have this thing that like sometimes you worry so much about what somebody else does, you don't focus on yourself. And I've seen that with fighters. So I watch, but I let my coaches usually watch. And then I start watching and I start understanding. I see where I could fit in, my coaches have eyes that I don't, right? So they see things from a different perspective, and I'll have this idea, like if I run across this cage, jump, kick this guy in the face, right? And my coach's like, how about we don't do that? We just kind of keep it simple, right? And but they really encouraged me, and I was just thinking about them today because like they challenged me nonstop. Like today, my coach was on me, just we're sparring. I think I'm doing well. He's like, no, do it like this again. Go back to this position. Go back, and that's what helps you become great because like it's easy as a fighter to go where your strength is and where you feel comfortable. But they're the ones who guide me, and it's like when all that comes together, and we've had moments where they snapped on me in camp, like I maybe stepped out of place.
How long have you been working with these coaches?
I've been at this gym for 2 years now. I moved down at the December 3rd, 2020. And Coach Dieter, just over a year and a half, he's a gym in Miami, but he also trains us at Kill Cliff.
Yeah.
His gym's called DK Fitness. And Coach Roque over there too. And then Nick Lentz, he's like my MMA mentor. And then I have Coach Greg Jones, same amount of time as Coach Lentz, but they've all been, I met them all at Kill Cliff. And
for the most part, when you started fighting, what you jumped straight to MMA, or you did like jiu-jitsu first, or like
straight to MMA? I had the small gym in North Carolina.
Okay.
And they said,
how many fighters are in that gym?
3.
Yeah.
It's like, and then everybody could do jiu-jitsu, but awesome people. I love them. I actually got invited to do a seminar at some guy who opened a gym out of there. His name is Brandon Robinson. See you soon. But yeah, I mean, they said if you want to pay your gym membership, maybe you could take a fight. I was like, yeah, for sure. When is it? 3 weeks later. And I was.
Hey, they just encourage you guys to jump into fights.
It's probably not the best idea. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. But yeah, my first fight was kind of interesting. I mean, I won. I started chasing the guy around with right hands, which is.
And how like were you fighting the same weight class?
I was fighting a weight class lower, so I fought as low as 170. I fought as low as 170, 185, and now I fight at 205. So about a 35-pound difference now, right? So,
okay.
35-pound difference. But yeah, I just ran around this small little venue in Charlotte, North Carolina, called Noda Art District, which is pretty cool. And I just chased the guy around the cage with the right hand, and got on the cage, and then I finished him. I was happy.
So yeah, so your weight class is 205. Yeah. So is that, again, like I was saying, is that like you got to be on 205 on the dot, or you got like a range?
So you have the weigh-ins the day before the fight, so you get 205 plus 1 pound, a pound allowance until the title fight. Title fights, you have to be on weight or lower. So I get 205 plus 1 pound, right? My weight class, I'm considered the smaller guy, so I really don't have much weight to cut at all. When I fought at 70, I was cutting 30 pounds from where I am now. And that'd be like over a 4 or 5 week period. Sometimes all camp, right? So that was an issue. 185 wasn't too bad. It was just like diet and make sure I'm, keeping my caloric deficit higher. But 205, like I'll eat Chick-fil-A the day before wins. Or like they said I got caught eating Reese's. And but it's like I don't know. I always tell people like it doesn't matter about the weight class. People say, oh, the guys, they're just so much bigger than you. Like the guys are probably like, I'm 210 in the cage, might be like 240, 250, maybe like
they're 240,
230. I would say some guys like 230 to 240. Yeah. Yeah, so like a lot of guys, some guys are doing that. But I always looked at like the rules. I said like if you love somebody, like and you're walking down the street, like you got a kid, right? And then some guy smacks your kid or your girlfriend, then you're like, I'm not gonna ask you what weight class you're we're gonna fight. And that's how I look at it. I'm like, we're fighting. Like it's not about trying to grapple or trying to like it's a fight and I got you. Yeah.
So I guess the extra 30 pounds, 40 pounds don't really matter to you.
No, like I mean, I don't think a guy who's like 125 maybe should be fighting like Francis Ngannou, who's a heavyweight. But at the same time, too, man to man, you're gonna fight. And
especially in the streets, it doesn't fucking matter. Right, you're smart.
Yeah. I take that same mindset. I take that just like I don't care what you do, where you're from, your credentials. Like I know, like God's called.
This is where I'm supposed to be at, and you're the obstacle right now.
Right. Yeah. That's it. They say like the obstacle in the way is typically the way you should go. And
so you don't feel like you have to like alter your life too much to fight this class?
No, like I got to keep doing it. Focus on skill acquisition, get better. Right?
Yeah.
It's not about like the fundamentals matter. Like,
100%.
Surfing, right, or anything you do at a highest level, the fundamentals matter. Whether it's music, art, like people can like paint this massive mural.
Yeah, there's already a technique at first. So it's right. I was like a self-taught artist. So the thing is like, sure, I know how to draw something, but there's just easier ways to do the same thing, right. Less steps. It's just like even in chess, you can say it, you can either get a person on a checkmate in 30 steps, or you can get a person in checkmate within 5-6 moves, It's the same fucking shit. Yeah. It's just fundamentals at that point. So It's like, It's either the person knows him or he doesn't know him, or he doesn't know, or he knows how to utilize it or not. You know what I mean? And that falls with anything.
That's how I look at fighting. Like I think everybody has like a certain time. I believe like I was gifted to fight. Like I'm not. I don't discredit that. I know I'm athletic and things like that. There's also things I love it. I can train all day. I want to keep training. My coach was said to me, hey, you got to pull back now. Like I want to go. And
Well, why would they say you need to pull back?
Well, I mean, like for my health, probably, and like and it's just, and maybe I'm missing a step. But that's the great thing about having the coaches that I do have. Like my main corner, typically that goes with me, is Greg Jones, Dieter Navarro, Nick Lenz, and my teammate Delano Taylor. But like they'll see something I don't see, and they'll look at me from that perspective. So it's okay. Like this is where you can skip a step, but right here we're not skipping. Like really skipping a step, and then starting to know like reverse engineer things about these are where the fundamentals can take you. And that's cool because I enjoy learning it. And at the time too, it's like then there's also a thing too. It's like you said, like those shortcuts you can take. Like sometimes it's just fighting. It's like I'm not trying to be all technical about getting up. It's get up, get on top of this.
It's all that brawlic shit too, bro. It's like how many hits do you feel like you can take, like, or how many hits you can give and shit. So it's like it's all like in that whole like fight or flight shit. Is like, bro, are you either gonna do it or not? Like,
yeah, it's like choose the fight. It's always a choice. I say like. To dominate or do anything in life, it's like to build what you built. It's a choice. Like you could have been like, I don't feel like it. It's like it's too much work, but you committed to it, and like it's a really.
And again,
cool
it's like with surfing, bro. You can be surfing 6 hours, and then you're fucking burned out. You get a cramp. It's either you're gonna fucking die in this set, or you're gonna paddle your ass back to the shore. You know,
right?
And it's probably the same thing with the fight because it's like again, it's like instinct and like adrenaline does kick in, bro. And sometimes I remember there's been times I get like double Charlie horse on my thigh from kicking all day, paddling with my arms, and I'm stuck and I'm like, bro, am I gonna fucking make it back? Or sometimes you're sitting on this last wave that just pound you and you're like, fuck, can I even go one more wave and have enough energy to make it back? You know, so it's like, do you ever find yourself like counting your energy clock? Like you can tell like, oh shit, after this punch I can probably last like
I think it's intelligent like when you're fighting to like like of course you have like energy management. But my focus like when I train or even when I fight is to make myself as tired as I possibly can be.
Oh, of course.
I learned that from my coach Jones, and it was like a new concept. Like when I was in North Carolina, Coach Jimbo, and he's like, everybody's the same tired. It's just like, what are you gonna do? Like, cause I think, oh, you're more tired than me. No, it's just like same tired. You're just feeling it, because once they hit tired, they're tired. But it's like making that choice, like I committed to do this to fight. Like why would you fold? And we don't fold. We don't break. It's really a choice. And I will fight and fight and fight until it's a wrap. And I have like a great coach Dieter. He'll say like, look at the guy. He broke it. And like sometimes I wouldn't pay attention because I'm just like, I'm ready to go again. And he's like, but you can learn from that because where you broke him, you keep attacking them. And it's man, being at this gym that I'm at now, there's some things I'm learning about myself and about others that I would have never learned in other places. Cause like here, like there are so many high class, high level people that it pulls the best out of you. Like, so really, what do you want to be that day? Like my focus is to dominate from before I even step in the gym, before I wake up all the way through the end of the day. Same with fights, right? And you only get that when you surround yourself around people who are going to bring the best. So guys are like drag them up. You don't get up from a takedown. You're like, am I really not going to get up because this guy's like bigger? Am I not going to like? No, that's not even an option. And it's cool because like
some Dragon Ball Z shit,
right? Like it's really true, right? Yeah.
Like Goku never gave up. This nigga get beat up over and over again and again and again. It's like,
you hear people say, I'm willing to die for this or things like that. It's like that should be bigger than that. It's like I don't want to go to heaven and be like I didn't give them all. Like, come home and your mom is looking at you like it's different, right? When fighting, right? You show up for weigh-ins, you get one check. Then when you're in your fight, you get another check. So it's like, do you want to go to the bank with one check? My coach was just come back home with two checks, and like the loss already stings, and then going to the bank with one check. And if you know that teller and they see you and they're like, where's that second check at? You know, like that's a different feeling.
That's cool. I never even knew that.
So that's an interesting fact about fighting, right? Like that's usually like, I got two checks. And sometimes it's three if you get a bonus, but
usually for surfing, you pay a check to get in,
right?
And then because your sponsor usually pays all that shit, and then you hope to make that big check. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And fighting, it's amateurs usually pay for like to get their spots and like at least like medicals and stuff. But fighting, you get paid differently. And you know, that's motivating in a way, right? Like, but it's more not. I would say it's just kind of like like you provide for those who are relying on you. Like I don't have any kids yet, but like I think that God willing, I'm still fighting when I have kids.
And like, what's like the average run for a fighter? Like what's the oldest fighter?
I mean, Glover Teixeira, he became a champion at 42. Some guys
Shut the
fighting
fuck up.
43. Yeah, Glover Teixeira, the Brazilian. He was recently the light heavy.
But what time did he jump in?
He's fighting for a while. I mean, he was 20s and 30s fighting. I think like he was a young guy, so he's been fighting for over 20 years. I would think, close to it at least. Yeah, you see some guys like Matt Brown's 42, I think. Right? Yeah, some guys are 40. So, like usually the heavier weight classes, they're because they never had to cut weight, so it's not so taxing on their body. Yeah. And some of those guys are just knocking people out cold, so they don't take as much damage. Right? So it depends. Or they're really great jiu-jitsu.
Well, knocking out someone cold is not like. I feel like that's more damage.
Well, I mean, if they're the one knocking the people out there on the good side of it, they usually kind of cut it short. But I think like mid-range, the guys in their early 30s are done fighting, like, or sometimes late 20s, depending on how long they fought or wrestled for. So I started at 24 training and everything, so it's still like my coach and I were just talking about that yesterday night, and I was like, man, it's still fun for me. Like you tell me to do something, I'm like, oh, like this is cool. Or like I want to figure it out more. You tell me about a fight, like that stuff for me is just like it's still interesting. Like stuff like that. Like when you're a kid and you're playing outside and they say don't come until the street lights turn on. I'm not even tired yet, but you've been outside for 6-7 hours. It's like imagine working out 6-7 hours at a high level. But when you're a kid, you're running. You're mad. You don't even eat.
Yeah, no, I know. You don't even think about that shit. Right. It's like I remember when I used to go on my real like surf trips, it would be like peanut butter and jelly sandwich in my backpack. Yeah. Only came inside because I needed like water, ate my sandwich and go back out. But you're surfing 8 hours straight, nonstop paddling up and down the beach, and then the sun, and then salt water fucking dehydrates you. Right. Everything. But it's like, bro, you're performing at like a top fucking notch. Like, there's no like, there's no in between, bro. It's like full throttle. Right. But another thing is I can't imagine sitting in a gym for fucking 6 hours either.
Well, see, I love it. Like until like we have sessions where you feel it after you sit down and you're just like, okay, everything's straight. But when we're in it though, oh man.
Oh, you don't feel it at all.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Like, one of my best friends in town, he's going back up to Canada, AJ. Safe travels as you're going up, and you'll see this later. He's driving 20 hours back to Canada, with his girlfriend, and it's like it's just cool because we just go and go and go.
And then you jump in the car and start driving?
Yeah. And he starts talking. We get dinner. It's like a funny relationship. Like we are beating the piss out of each other. Like it's like nonstop. Go, go, go. We're just trying to like just scrap. Like we love it. And then you want to get some food later. Like I love
That's another thing that's fucking crazy because it's like, especially like when you train and spar with someone, like you kind of gotta like hate each other and shit for that moment, and then you go back to like, hey, so what do you want to eat? Want to fucking grab a drink or something? It's like you literally just brawled each other's faces away and shit. It's like, and it's like, hey, want to hang out?
And I think that to me that's a different kind of love, right? Like you have like it's real because if somebody's not your guy.
But that's dope though because like at that point you kind of like learned your brain and you know how to like turn it off and on because it's like even with stress and shit like that and other things in life, sometimes like a level of anxiety or like switches on in our head and we stay stuck. Yeah. Like you're able to actually control it. Like you know how to like, oh, this is it and oh, we're done and this is out.
Yeah, you respect them. People always ask me, oh, when do you turn on? I'm like, it's always on. It's like it's kind of like a thing. Like I'll fight at any time of any day. Like as long as there's a fight opportunity to fight. And I know I fight for a living and it's part of my living, but it's like I love the Warriors lifestyle. And there are a few people who are like in it. And there are some who are just like kind of treat the sport or just want to be around. And you see it. It's like in anything. People want to be excellent. And it's like when you have a person who really wants to, like my friend Delano, like he's 170, I'm 205 now, but like we would throw down, but like we're best friends. He went to church and then we go get like tacos after. It's
funny because my sister's boyfriend always tried to get me into it, but it's like me being 35 now, I was like, and I always feel like, oh, I'm too old for you getting into that shit and like grab, but I've always loved that shit, dude. Like, even when I'm working outside, dude, I just like feeling like barbaric as fuck. You know what I mean? Right. Yeah. Like the other day, I was building a fucking Argentinian grill, and like at first, I filled up the thing with bricks, and it was heavy as fuck. And I was like, let me see if I can carry more bricks. Yeah. And it got to more bricks to a point that I was able to fill up the whole crate with bricks and then stack on top and still carry. And I was like, bro, and it just felt dope. And even like. That's why I even hunt. Like one of the like crazy experience of me and hunting when I first took my girl hunting with me and shit. And she didn't have no fucking like waders or no hunting gear. I just gave her overalls and my water boots. Yeah. And And the crazy part is like, first off, Rip, we fucking flipped the boat getting in the boat,
Oh,
but it's because she didn't know how to like maneuver a canoe. That happens a lot.
yeah.
Like if I'm jumping in a canoe on one side, you got to alter the weight
Right.
and all that bullshit. So we flipped the whole boat at 4 a.m.
Okay.
But we fucking went duck hunting and we were out until probably from 4 a.m. I want to say until 2 in the afternoon and shit. We were out. But the thing is, like, on the way back, she helped me paddle, but like obviously she's not used to it. So I have to paddle the whole canoe filled with gear. And the thing is, like, sometimes you get lost and then you get lost in like sawgrass fields and shit. And these sawgrass fields can be like as a patch can be bigger than this fucking warehouse. So imagine pushing through that shit, dude. So like there was a point that I fucking we went through it at night because you go through sawgrass fields and islands, and then it opens up to open water or tunnels, like waterways.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, like it's just depth or what creature creates it. It's just kind of crazy how it does like grow like a vein. Like there's just ways in the grasses, but bro, there was a point that I was just towards the end. I had to get out of the boat and I started walking, and like I said, she had no gear, so I pushed her through all the sawgrass for like 45 minutes, dude.
Wow.
And again, it's a boat filled with a bunch of shit in it, a full human, and I'm just fucking pulling this shit, bro. And at the end, I'm not gonna lie, like at first I was pissed and I was so hot because it's fucking Florida, but at the end, in my head is like, bro, no fucking regular man can do that shit.
Right.
Like it takes a certain man to do it, and it feels dope. Like I feel like a lot of people don't even get to experience it, and like. And that fighting is probably that's the main high you probably do get is that end feeling when you're done. It's like, bro, I'm fucking an animal in a way. You know what I mean? It's like I can fucking do this shit. Bro, some people live such fucking square ass lives that like there's no point of fear, there's no point of like danger in their life. It's the same bullshit. Like, I don't know, man. Like it's that shit in itself, it's a high.
Yeah.
Even like with anything of those type of like caliber of sports in general, you know?
Right.
So like I said, bro, I've always wanted to do it, but it's just like one, it costs money. It's a lot of dedication, but like fighting was one of the things that like in my head, I've always wanted to do it.
Man, I recommend it. If you get into jiu-jitsu, man, like down here in near Hollywood, like you go to Wagner Rocha school, like you get
There's a couple places I've heard even out west that are fire as fuck.
Oh, you'll find a lot of places, man. Some some small pocket gym nobody heard about, but you'll get excellent jujitsu, and like that's even good because you don't have to take any head damage, but you still become like you learn an excellent.
Yeah, but I like throwing hands.
Oh no, you still go do that too, learn box and all that. I mean, I think you put it all together. Like if you want to make an ultimate weapon, right? You learn skills with that. You don't have to post it or show anything like that. It's like having that skill set. Like now people can go provide for their family if everything like shut down, grocery stores are done. Like how do you grow? Like what would they do? Like I lived on a farm for a while, and I still go back and forth, but it's learning how to hunt, grow, cultivate, being around the cows. It's different. Like, and then there was a time where everybody, that was kind of like just what you do. Like,
and it's crazy because like we talk about big pharma and all that shit, and it's like they talk about like herbalistic fucking medicines being like a second stage of medicine. It's like, no, bro, we were doing this shit way before. That's how it was always. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I don't know, man. I love that shit. Everyone's always like, yo, you're always on some fucking weird shit. Like, why the fuck? Like, it's funny because my boy sent me a video of like real men hunt, and this guy went to like Publix with a bow and arrow and just shot everything with a bow and arrow and brought it to the register with the bow, with the arrow still through it. And I was like, bro, that's fucking hilarious. But it's like, nah, man, it's dope. I love it. I'm kind of upset that I got into it late, but again, I'm also with that shit. I'm self-taught because then I got friends that like embrace me to do it and all that shit, but then they fucking get a girl or have kids and then just fucking think that's what life is. That's another thing. I have like pet peeves in lives that I think it's kind of fucked up when you kind of just because you like, and not to knock anyone, but like being a parent and being in a family and a relationship is just one part of our aspects of lives. You know what I mean? And it's like, I feel like it's very important to pick your right partners or even understand like, and even like someone asked me the other day, it's like, oh, how's it feel to be 35? And honestly, I feel like stronger than I ever been, healthier than I ever been. I'm not in the best shape and like that I've felt in like a while, but like, bro, I feel like way better than I ever did in my 20s. You know what I mean? And even like, bro, I went to Hawaii just 2 years ago and didn't surf for like didn't surf any heavy waves, and I want to say in like 8 years. Went to Hawaii and still paddled out. Went to Pipeline,
Nice.
which is like, I remember that shit was my fucking idol point in life to even ever surf. You see Blue Crush, and everyone's like, yeah, girls don't surf like Pipeline, and it's like only for the top locals, like only like 15 of the local guys surf fucking Pipeline, And then even to go out there surf around those guys, I saw Jamie O'Brien, which is some guy that I like grew up watching my whole life,
Beast.
Oh, dude, beast. And he's a Howley, bro, but he's loved so deeply by like the Hawaiians and bro, and he's like so part of the community, but the guy is super dope. It's funny because I was like riding my skateboard and like I was actually surfing at Backdoor. It's just like, so it's Backdoor. No, it's Off the Walls, Backdoor. And the Off the Wall is where the actual Van's house is at.
Yeah.
So I was surfing there, and I told my mom, "Hey, let's go down to Pipeline," because I felt like I like started at Jaws. Jaws Cove is like a little bit more down to the beach, and if you watch those motherfuckers in Hawaii, it's like is where the lake connects to the ocean, and they dig it out and they surf the river. They surf the ocean and the lake. It makes a connection, and it's like a wave pool.
That's right.
So I fucking surfed that section because it was a little small, and then I kept moving out until I got to Pipeline, and that shit was scary as fuck. But like, so I'm surfing, I'm skating, and then I passed Jamie O'Brien. I was like, holy shit, that's Jamie O'Brien. My mom was like, who's that? He's like, this guy that I watched. She's like, go say hi. I was like, nah, I don't like doing that to people. And then I surfed over there for like Pipeline for a little, and I came back and he was still there. My mom was like, you better go say hi. So I went to say what's up, and I talked to him for a minute, and he was cool as fuck, bro. Really dope. And it's funny because I caught him right on his street, like where he lives, because he lives right next to he doesn't live next to the Van house. He lives next to the Volcom house. So it was pretty dope, bro. But like, that shit's always been like one of my biggest dreams, but I don't even know where I was going with this shit now. What? Why are you shushing me for? But nah, man. But yeah, fighting is one of the things like I want to try, but I feel like it takes a lot of time, bro.
For sure. I think anything worth it takes time, but that's what makes it beautiful, right? It's like, I think I've had an expedited process compared to someone who've been fighting. Like some guys been fighting for 5 years, 4.5, 5 years, like I have now, but never got to the shows I've been in, and like I don't take that as a something to brag about, but I'm very grateful because like it just kind of when I talk to people like, how long have you been doing this? Oh man, since I was 10, this is my dream. I'm like, what? And it kind of makes me think like be grateful for what I do have.
No, for sure.
And so what I love about the fighting is like you still have to dedicate hours and hours and hours. Like
but it's also the people that you meet too and come across. It's
Right.
like. So it's like, it's funny that you even say that you've been doing this for 5 or 6 years, but it's like, even when I was in tattooing, like I was self-taught, and then I got into a shop, and then I know people that was in this, like in the shops and working for like 10, 12 years.
Right.
And then I come in within 2 years and start meeting some of the biggest people in tattooing. But it's just also because of the way I communicate with people, and that it got to a point that I've only been in the industry for 2 years, but I had some of the dopest people. Like, dude, I was getting machines for like half the cost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and not even being sponsors. Like, Joe, I just know the motherfucker that runs the company,
Right.
and I can get a discount. Like I got inks. I used to get inks for free all the time. I still do. And like needle companies, I can get them for like dirt cheap. So it's like, and then it's like, bro, it's like it's also you. It's like you got to give yourself credit because it's not even like. It's not even time. It's like the energy, you kind of the presence and stuff. Like doors will open a lot easier than other people. You know what I mean? Because again, like in the tattoo industry, I know some dope ass people, and it's only because like the genuine relationships that I have with these people. You know what I mean?
Right.
It doesn't matter how much time you put in do. Like if you meet the right people and you're like, I feel like if you're walking like the righteous path in a way, like the opportunities will fucking open unlimitedly,
Yeah, you're definitely limitless. That's true. I can agree. Like I met some solid people. Just hopefully they see me as a good person, right? Like, but
yeah.
like, just they'll treat you right. Like I think God bless people. Like there's like no time limit on your favor, right?
Yeah.
And then sometimes you're just favored by people. Like you just you think you're blessed, right? You don't understand why, and yeah, you go through like peaks and valleys like everybody else, but man, sometimes those peaks are really good, and even the valley, like you realize it's going to get better, and people treat you right along the way. So,
and talking about peaks and valleys, you ever been into a fight that you're like, oh fuck, this is gonna go south, and you kind of like overcome it?
Man,
have you had any scary fights that you can like think off your head, like
scary fight? I had fights like where I was,
and I'm not like, oh shit, this motherfucker, like you're in the middle of the fight, and like
It's funny, right? Like he's my teammate now and training partner, but we fought my pro debut. His name is Foz, and he's the first time we talked about the podcast, but I don't know if it's both our pro debut. We're still green, right? And like I'm still green. I'm still learning. You're always learning, but that fight was nonstop. Like getting picked up, lateral drop, elbowed him. He's bleeding. In the middle of the fight, he was on top of me, and the blood was leaking from his forehead or something. And
that shit doesn't freak you out?
No, but this
no, like me, like having someone else's blood on you type shit. No.
Right.
No, I'm not even a germaphobe. It's just like blood, yo.
Oh,
like it's just
it gets worse. It gets worse. In the middle of the fight, I swallowed his blood.
Oh my god!
And I remember it, and I'm like,
I would like scream like some Ace Ventura shit, like ah!
It was like a pause, like everything. It's like I would have felt like in that fight they paused the clock, and I was like,
do they pause it?
No, like unless you like.
I'll be like, time out. I gotta drain my mouth.
You get blood work every 3 months.
Yeah, every fight pretty much now. So because I can fight in different states all the time, but I swallowed it and I remember it's like that wasn't so bad. And then and I look at myself, I was like, Impa, what? And I got up and I just started going, and I was just like, okay, here we are. And I could find the spot in the fight where I'm recording. I'm just like,
you can see it in your face that it hits you.
You can just tell me, did I just swallow this guy's blood? And it's like a different because I've never done that. Of course, never in your life, so you're thinking like, did I just swallow your blood? And I got up and I just remember that the fight finished. I was looking at that guy like, and now we get along so well. We're cool. Like,
dude, I remember my first party that with tattoo. I was like, oh, that's it. I got syphilis on my finger. You know, I was ready to cut this bitch. I was like in the middle of the tattoo, like, am I gonna continue or am I cutting this shit off right now? Before it spreads to the rest of my body, you're over here chugging blood. I'll be like, oh, I'll be dead, dude. I literally I'll go viral, bro. I'll be like, like I'll stop fighting, just running in circles, like projectile vomiting, just like gagging myself, like gotta get this out.
Right. It was different. I remember even going to like I walked to the hotel room because it was in the conference room where they had the fights. And like I started hiding, and my dad doesn't really do blood either, so he's kind of trying to give me a hug, but he's trying to like, oh, I'm proud of you, but he's obviously just giving me a fist bump. He's like, go shower first. And I got in the shower, and I didn't realize how much blood was on me.
Oh, dude, I can't imagine some of you guys' fights.
The whole thing was red, and it was actually. But back to that, like hunting, primal, like not many people get to feel that. And I'm
not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Now that I hunt, I love blood. Like I have some stains on my overall,
right? And
it's like, damn.
You remember, right?
Yeah.
I keep all.
And I don't mind dealing with blood and all that stuff at that point.
No, it's different, right? Because it has a purpose.
Yeah.
Like if somebody's just bleeding and you're just like, why are you bleeding? That's different. Yeah. But all my raps I give to my mom after my fights.
Oh, that's dope.
So like every single time I fought, maybe one fight if I couldn't find
and your knuckles all pretty fucked up.
No, everything's healthy. Like I got
no. I'm just saying like after most fights is like.
Oh, the blood? Yeah, there's always like blood all over. Like you see different spots, but I kind of imagine too, like what part of the fight was this? And if it's really clean because nothing really happens, it's like different. Like I write my favorite verses on there and like some stuff that my mom always has, and she keeps them. Like I went home recently for a fight, and I was in my parents' room and hopped in the shower, and then I was like, oh man, like, and I saw all of them. It's like that's the different kind of love. Like she didn't just take them. It's like, all right, I'm done. Like she kept every single one for so many years, and it made me feel like I got to get it some more, but. Yeah, like that fight though, it was like my coach, Coach Jimbo, was my first pro. He's yelling at me. We were very like tight. I was considered like a second dad at the time, and he's like yelling at me, "What are you here to fight?" And my teammate at the time, Matt Norman, great guy. He goes, "I don't know what you told him between rounds 1 and 2, but that worked." Like the way he yelled at me, and it was just such a small environment. Like literally, I could walk from here to there. There's the end of the cage, and it was just. Nonstop elbows flying, combinations. And that for me was it's one of those fights. It's like, man, like you better become a fighter here today, and like show why you're really called to do this.
Yeah.
And it was like, and I respect him too. He's my bro. And man, I know he's a fight coming up sometime in August. I want to say like the 12th or something, but it's in Louisiana. So I just want to send him blessing. Yeah, he's a country dude. He's from Virginia. Talk like this, like all that stuff, but. He's a good guy. His fight name is War Pig, so like just that gives you the
War Pig. Isn't that like someone's name? Like
it's a song. I think it's like a Metallica song.
Okay, yeah. Nah, it's funny because like thinking about like I remember one time I was like me and my friends used to do like that backyard boxing bullshit all the time, and just like put the gloves on and just fight each other. And I would never forget one time I fought one of my boys, and we both punched each other at the same time, and you can tell like we both hit each other on the button. Like our eyes both rolled back. We looked at each other and was like, "We're good," and we just walked away, bro. But I'll never forget that fight because most of the other fights I've ever been to, like street fights, is like I don't know. I've always kind of let the person kind of do the first thing because I never want to be the person who initiates any fight. And then in general, just because like law reasons, like I'm not trying to get caught up with this bullshit.
Yeah.
But like I'll let someone approach me and like swing first, and then I'll fucking just I don't know, like do whatever I gotta do. But like, and then besides that, like even in the power, like I don't know. I used to always take a lot of hits, and that's why I've always wondered, like as an adult, like how would it work play out and shit. And again, it's like one thing I've always like. I know I'm the type of person is like if I get like hyped, like it gives me that extra energy. Like you feel like your second win, and I would love to feel that like kind of feeling as an adult now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because bro, that energy is like unreal. Like it's a dope ass drug in a way, you know what I mean? Like it's a nice ass high. And especially like when you feel like especially like how you talk about you feel so exhausted and you get that like boost.
Yeah, you have to dig deep. You make that choice. Like I have a teammate, AJ. He wants to go and I want to go. And it's like, all right, I'm gonna get you. We're like, that's my bro for life. And it's nonstop. Like I gotta break you gotta break it, I gotta break you gotta break it. And just like days back and forth and you kind of laugh after practice.
And what's and for the most part, it's like after fights like that, like what's your like unwinding routine? Like you icing down, you fucking patting, like slamming a bunch of Tylenols and some tea? Like what is it? Like
Nah, I mean, it's
how's your body like?
I'm good. Like I've never had a fight. Like I've been knocked out before. Yeah. Like I've never had a fight where I was like, oh, something's hurting after. It's always been like dominated, or if I've lost, it was like the decision. But I've always been healthy. Like I have great coaches and great coaching, and I could just
You
feel.
never felt like holy fuck.
No, I feel like that.
Did I get hit by a semi truck last night or what?
I've had training sessions like that. And it's very rare that I get like sore. Like I just don't. But I've had training sessions where I'll get up. This guy's like, "Hey, what's fighting like?" This new guy, Jordan Oliver. He's funny, but I was like, "It's great," and I'm getting up off the ground like, oh, like just I could feel every part of my body. But
I feel like as an athlete, you kind of like those pains.
Yeah, you do. It makes you kind of feel like you're
functioning,
like you're doing something.
Yeah,
right? Like like when I know when AJ's in town, when like we're both like, all right. Like I laughed. I sent him a video of like all these like Pedialites.
Yeah,
Walgreens. I'm like, well, looks like you're back in town because I started like chugging Pedialyte because it's a different kind of push for somebody who really wants to go. Where it's not like that with every single person. Like when I go to Delano or Jason Jackson, like certain partners like we can go. But AJ, he's different. He's got a real dog in him, and he just wants to push, right? Like, and then you have your coach yelling at you, and you're like, do it like this. And if I'm doing my best here to do it this way, then you're on top. He's like, now keep dominating, right? And those are the guys like I really respect because I know it's honest work, right? Real honest work.
Yeah.
In fights though, no. Like I remember at fights, like my unwinding things, I go for a walk after every fight. Like I just walk.
And what's on your mind? Like you're just assessing like shit that you felt you might have fucked up or whatnot?
Yeah, both. Like it's like I'm grateful. Like I can turn my phone on, text like family members or close people. Find like a random like restaurant, late night spots, like some bars and like just chilling. Yeah, like I love to ride my motorcycle when I get back in town. Like I go to church in the morning, get some good like tacos, this little taco truck right by church. And I just ride and ride until I run out of gas, and I keep riding until I run out of gas. And I ride and I try to catch a sunset or something, you know? But for me, it's like that being by myself and just alone time where I can just like pray and meditate, think, talk. My mom would probably call me in the middle of it. My brother and sister, like my dad or somebody's close, and just I'm mentoring them. If I can, I'll go back to North Carolina and see my family and just enjoy like that. But they're like, "What do you want to do when you're in town?" I'm like, "I'm chilling." Like they always know, like I love chicken noodle soup or like there's like some kind of pasta. And every time I come home, it's there. They know I'm coming home, and it's nice. Like I'll walk this neighbor, this little girl Vivian. She always gives me little flowers. I met her during COVID.
For the most part, like I know you say it's not too much for you like to like you don't like what's your when you're in like a full competitive mode, like touring and all that shit, like getting ready for fights, like what's your like your training schedule? What's your diet like? What's give us like a quick rundown of like of these couple months.
See, like at least 2 training sessions a day, sometimes 3. It depends on
a day.
A day, yeah. So
it's like work. So you go to work every day.
Every day.
Okay.
Every day, yeah. There's Sundays I chill. Like I'll still like run, shadow box or something. But Monday through Saturday, you're doing something. And
how long is the training sessions?
Hour and a half each, sometimes 2, depending on what gym I'm in. If I'm in Miami, something's a little longer. Boxing, folks, it's really fundamentals, right? Like a lot of fundamental training for me. Because like when you're athletic too, it's like you're very athletic. That I would say more athletic than most. Like I'll find like you'll find things in space that you feel like it's not like you're just trying to like create one way. You kind of like that box and you start adding it to one.
And for the most part, is most of your workouts more like cardio calisthenics, or are you doing weights or anything like that?
It's a lot of resistance cardio push-ups. So like strength and conditioning, like a lot of push and pull days. So you like your traditional pull-ups and push-ups, right? But then you have like sled pull, sled push, air down bike, sprints, skier, sometimes swimming, sprints, like a.
What's your favorite workout?
My favorite,
like that you like.
Man, it's like it's kind of part of my training session, but we're wrestling, and it's like you got to break this guy's got, and one coach is like, when you take somebody down, you don't let him just dig his face in the mat. And I got that for me, like that grittiness of it, especially with a great like training partner, like when Phil Hawes is in town or when AJ is here, like those type of like gritty sessions where you have to get the last takedown to win and it's nonstop. And you just, more coach, like, we're going to wrestle. We're going to wrestle for an hour and a half. And if you want to leave the mats, go home. Like that for me, that grittiness, because it's, yes, you have the cardio, but you have, like, I know when that's on, like.
Do you ever get to any points that it's like, that you, like the person you're, even though you're your boy and shit, like when you're grappling, they piss you off or some shit that like.
Oh yeah.
Do you like I don't know how to kind of say it. Do you like, are you controlling yourself, or you kind of just like let the full force come out type shit? Because you also don't want to hurt him or nothing like that. It's just like
you want to drop him to the body.
Yeah.
Like you want to drop him to the, so knock him out to the head. No, like if it happens, it happens. It's part of it. Like we're throwing down. I mean, I'm not gonna say like it doesn't. You're not in the middle of it and you're trying to get this guy, and if you hit him, he falls. You're like, oh, crying about it. No, but it's like but it's vice versa. Like you want to pick up. I'm like,
so in these trainings, are you technically still training to like hurt someone? Like it was almost like a real fight, or it's still like
to the body?
Oh, right? Only bodies.
To the body. If you hit someone to the head and they drop, okay, but it's like not really trying to hurt your teammate.
But how hard are you really even hitting these people in the body?
You're ripping them to the body. Yeah. Like ripping them to the body.
Jesus Christ.
At least I am. I mean, maybe I don't know, but I know that like I'm going for it. Like it's like to drop it to the body. Like that's what you want. Like I don't want to see anybody like incapacitated or like that they can't train again. Like no, like ripping of their knees or heel hooks, like nothing like that. That's just dirty. But when it's real,
like full on punches and shit. I thought you were.
It's like real gritty work, you know, like that. Like AJ, like I want them to try to drop me to the body. I want them to see if they can knock me out. Like I
feel like at that point you still got to like. You can't just be getting like baby ass hits and like when you're practicing, you got to feel the actual real hits to be ready for it. Because then it sounds cheesy. Because even like I went like on a Creed spell the other day. I watched all the Creeds.
Did you?
Yeah, I watched like the last Rocky and then all the Creeds. And I've always watched him patch or just seen him like walked into a place and it's playing type of shit. So I never watched it. But when like Rocky tells him is like. What like he was like, give me some of your tips or some secrets, and he's like, jump rope for 12 rounds, and I was like, God damn, like Jesus. So it's like I kind of understand him because of like if you can't jump rope for fucking 2 minutes, you know, because like that's technically the round in a boxing match or 3 minutes. It's like, how would you even have the endurance, you know, to even do this shit? So it's like, I guess you got to really take these punches then.
Right, yeah, you get after it, but it's like it has to be simulated in a certain way. We have great coaches too. Like they pull us back when we need to. They push us when it's time to go. But it's like I'd rather be pulled back and then instead of being told I need to go. Right? Yeah. Like we get after it. Like some of the guys, like I mentioned, like there's some shots you're like, and that shot wasn't just to teach me or like. But then it's also to our coach said it the other day. It's like it's your job to be sharp. Right, like it's a professional fighting environment. Like I didn't do it to be healthy. I didn't do it to be like safe job. Like it wasn't like I got into fighting so I could be healthier. It was like I got into fighting because like there's a calling within me to be that warrior, and
you got to feed it, man.
Right? Oh, I love it. Like I love to go like to the point where my coach is like, hey, like look.
I always like talk about like feeding your soul. I remember I was at a tattoo convention. What's up with this fucking fly gnat? I'm about to fight him.
He wants to be part of the podcast.
It's our new fucking pet. Just pops up. But so basically it was she was saying it's like we were sitting there and it was like downtime from tattoo and she sits there and she's like, and she's Mexican, she's like, I think Mexicans are deprived because we can't have like massive sacrifices anymore.
Oh,
And I was like, Jesus. And I was like, maybe you're right. She's like, because she's like, busted out and always like, it's kind of crazy that Mexican like cartels always do beheadings and all that, but it was like it's always been part of their culture and shit. It's like, and that's probably why they have in their countries like there's so much like weird shit going on, like corruption and shit. Is because like they still can't. They're not praying to these gods anymore. They're not doing like organized sacrifices and all that stuff, and that's why. And I was like, maybe. And like, and it's like, who's us to knock her down for like this even mindset? It's like technically genetically wired in our brains, you know? We're forced to like live a certain way. And who is us to say that they were killing like innocent people, you know what I mean? These guys could have been fucking molesters, rapers, fucking thieves and all that. And then, hey, 2-for-1 deal. This nigga robbed your lamb. Let's use him for Sunday sacrificial, you know? It's like, here you go, God. We got a couple extra ones this weekend for you.
We'll see. I feel like a time machine, it'd be kind of cool to go back and see like why people did certain things, whether maybe they're corrupt or just trying to take care of like someone that they don't want in politics, or you never know. But every culture has a story.
I know. I mean, there's like, bro, there's fucking even in Africa, there's like warriors that would drink fucking blood after fighting them. You know, like, and they stole people that still drink blood out of there. Even not indigenous, Aborigines. Aborigines still fucking believe in drinking like human bloods and like blood and all that stuff, like as a meal.
I did not know that.
Like cups, and it's not even just human blood. They'll drink like a whole cow's like a glass of cow's blood like it was milk, bro. And apparently it's good fucking properties, like, and then who are we to knock them, you know? Like, we don't know fucking shit.
People. Like,
no, but people are so like, oh, that's so fucking weird. I remember there was like, when I got into like hunting at the beginning, I would eat a lot of like raw, like my main hunt was always duck, and I would eat the heart and the liver raw as fuck. Because I killed them, like, I just killed this motherfucker an hour ago, you know?
Right.
So the shit's clean as shit. And people are like, oh, that's disgusting. You're just eating that. And I'll give it to my kids. And it's like, bro, you can't tell me what I'm doing is fucking like, you give fucking, I don't know, children's Tylenol to your kid. Like, bro, what the fuck is in that shit? You know what I mean? It's like, so you can't tell me like what I'm doing is all fucking weird and twisted. Like, and another thing is like, again, how we said is like, people been doing this shit before we even known. Like, we know about it, you know?
A lot of times people don't want to waste much of a hunt at all. Like, if they could, from the hide all the way down to like the internal, like the organs and stuff like that. Like a lot of that stuff people do. I mean, it's become pretty popular lately, but I mean, people like just because it's popular doesn't mean it hasn't been done, right?
Yeah,
it just kind of like became trendy.
Yeah,
but people definitely eat liver. Our teammates were like eating. I
mean, there's that raw egg theory bullshit too.
Raw eggs, people do. Like I had raw eggs on the farm. Like every once in a while, like people eat like certain parts of their hunts. I mean, people still like they'll order organs just to eat them. So there's a lot of like benefits to them.
Like my grandma to this day, like we can get a hog and the first thing she's gonna eat is the brains, and it's like, bitch, there's a whole ham over here. That's the leftovers. Like that's Thursday's meal. It's Monday.
Right.
Like we don't have to eat brain yet.
People had to do stuff to like survive for so long, and then also some people maybe
it's like tripe. Like my country, we love tripe.
Tripe is what? It's
intestine lining.
Yeah,
that's insane, bro. Like, and it's not the beginning of the intestine; it's the last part, like where it starts turning to shit. Kind of like this is just access.
People found out divorce. Isn't that how oxtail was made too? It's like not really considered.
It's all tendon. It's like eating hooves and shit, and like chicken's feet.
But that became amazing. Tastes great, right? You season it right.
Yeah, I think about that shit all the time. It's like it's crazy how like the most nastiest shit that people did not like. And it was low-key the fires, right? You know?
And then you think about like what's in a chicken nugget now.
Right? So it's way worse than fucking it's probably like chicken colon and shit, like actual butthole.
They make put a bunch of different crabs together, like put a bunch of stuff together. You're just like, is that what I really need to eat?
It's funny because like my kids would be like, I want chicken nuggets or some shit, and I'm like, bro, no, we're getting chicken wings, bro. Like nowadays, you honestly have to eat anything with bone in it to know that it's real. Because like even nowadays, like you see it like. There's 2 major corporations just got approved to sell us fucking genetic meat, and then now they're also got approved to sell synthetic meat. But besides that, well, no, there's genetically like mutated meat, but now they did approve with synthetic meat, which is like 3D printed meat, and that's crazy. And instead of like, I don't want people to think it's like, oh, they're building it out of like wax or plastic. No, they just got like whatever fucking food paste in a 3D printer, and it prints you out this piece of meat the same way that meat is kind of designed.
No.
And it's fucking like mind blowing that people are even down to eat this shit, like, or even continue to like even do it. But yeah, man, fuck that shit. That's why I got into hunting and all that stuff. And people say it's like, it's so much work. It's weird. Why the fuck would you do it? Why, like, it's a lot of effort, but it's like, a lot of this shit's fucking. One, I feel like we're definitely getting disconnected. We're humans, and we're kind of just like letting this body go to waste. You know what I mean? Because there's even days that I was gonna mention that if I don't work out, and I'm not religious into working out right now, but if I wasn't an active or not working out, I kind of get into a very depressive state that I don't just feel like I'm not doing anything, and my body aches. And like I've even with surfing, when I like as I gotten older and got busier with life, I stopped surfing. My body would ache in different ways because I'm not using these weird little muscles, you know. And even to this day, like when I do surf a set, I feel like, let's say for instance, with skimboarding, because I still skimboard here and there because I'm teaching my kids how to skimboard, because that's kind of how I got into surfing. Bro, the amount of muscles that are in your fucking toes are insane, because when I'm done skimboarding, bro, all between my toes hurt, inside the heel hurts, those muscles, those little fucking muscles, and it's just like, and I feel like it's like very important to like utilize this, and like being this like superhuman. I love that. Like I remember when they used to make reels on YouTube, like being a superhuman, like shit that people do. And like just the other day I was talking to one of my homies. I'm trying to get my skydiving license and shit. And he was like, dude, if you get that shit, I'll definitely try to make it to most of your classes. And I sent him a video of this guy, like he's driving in a car and he jumps out of the car off of a fucking bridge, and there's water under it, and he just pulls a parachute. He's like, bro, that's one of my things that I always wanted to do. But like, and the thing that I also saw is like this chick, she went to like Switzerland to the hot air balloon thing, and she climbed to the top of the hot air balloon and just jumped off. In their parachute. So like my whole high is like, I like being a superhuman. Like I like doing like weird ass shit that like literally pushes the boundaries of life. You know what I mean? Like I'm more into like, and it's like how my boy even said too, is like how long are you trying to live? I'm more into like, how much am I trying to live? You know what I mean?
That's real.
Like full on limit, like full throttle. I definitely like am smart. And as you get older, you get smart, you know, like what's safe or not, but you're definitely pushing it to like your full potential. And that's like, well, honestly, like after even talking to you, might even sign up a gym, bro, and just to fucking feel it, because like it's just a dope feeling to feel like, and I feel like it's very rare for men. I feel like that's why we also live in such a weird time, because men are not really concerned about being men no more. You know what I mean? Like we're not here to satisfy that manly soul and like being too macho man. And it's like, even talking to you, bro, like even you being a fighter and all that shit, you don't give that like aggressive, angry, macho vibe. You know what I mean? Which is like a crazy thing to even say, because like people see it like even a man that builds things and is hands on. It's like we're so quick to be like, oh, you're such a macho man. There's no sensitivity bullshit, that is and that. And like there's no in between. Like you either macho or you're fucking high in intuition and type shit. And it's like, no, bro, that's like some bullshit that like, I don't know, society kind of painted. But like even myself, bro, like I'm not out here being super hype or calling attention, but I fucking get down, you know what I mean? And I still like have a drive to be like be Hercules if I fucking could, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's just dope to like talk to somebody about that type of shit like that, and like you have the persona you have and stuff, and I feel like it's important to like, there has to be people like us, you know what I mean? Because there's just a fucking weird image of men right now, and like now that women also want to do like, they say like women want the same rights as men, and it's almost like, it's not even this. I think we kind of overseen the picture of like what they were trying to say. It's like just being equal, and it got to a point that women just like do men's job, which like men don't even want to fucking do technically. Like who the fuck wants to be a roofer? You know what I mean? Like, and no offense to a roofer, but like why the fuck would a chick even want to do that shit? Like, so in my head it's like, and like we're always like comparing to like, yeah, bro, it's just like, it's cool to fucking have this drive, you know?
Yeah, it's important. I think that you don't have to be limited, right? I think a lot of people like people identify a certain way, wherever that may be. Like I guess I'm a Christian, but I don't think I have to. I'm proud. I love God. Like I'm never
Yeah.
gonna be a person who's gonna insult or judge somebody. So I don't say this in a way where people should be like, hopefully offended. But if they are, okay.
Yeah,
But it's like,
each other.
right? It's like, but it's one of those things. I think that you have to be proud to be what you are and who you're designed to be. Like there's something that men could never do that women do, right?
Oh yeah.
But there's some things that guys like, just like that women do that men can never do, men could do that women can never do. Like men are great at being men, women are great at being women.
Yeah.
Like also too, just like exploring and seeing all that you can be in this life, right? You see like jumping off, like you said, we just talk about the same person who's jumping off a hot air balloon, like swinging. I want to do that, and then just flying off the squirrel suit can be the same person who can put a physics formula together or figure out the next cure for this type of disease. And then they can be the same person who wants to get down in a fight. You shouldn't limit yourself because people like I get that question a lot. Like for me, my next step is to get my master's degree and get my CPA. And it's like, you're a fighter, be a fighter. I'm like, why do I have to limit myself to be? I do like flowers and stuff like this. Or you get.
Bro, I studied to be an architect. You know,
right?
I got an A in architecture and all that bullshit. So it's like,
you shouldn't limit yourself.
Yeah, nah, bro. That's just.
Be discover because people get distracted. Like you don't even want to be what you are anymore, so you don't want to like discover all that else you can be in this life, and you kind of limit yourself. And then you get later on in life, like, dang, like I could have done all this, but I stopped myself from going for it. And now that people are like willing to stand on that, right? Like it's why not have tattoos and be out in the forest? Why not fight and like love a flower field? But also too, why not just be the man that you're meant to be? Like provide, like have that grittiness to you, but also have that soft touch. Like if you you could be a man, like raise your young men to be great men, but still love your son. Raise your daughters and teach her to show her respect.
Yeah.
Like be famous in your own home, but people want to be famous outside just because they want the attention. And I think that distracts them from being who they need to be.
It does, bro. And it really does. And it's like, and I almost feel like another reason that like, and I know we're pushing into time and shit, but I definitely like talking about this type of shit. It's like, we also definitely like, I don't know, man. I think we got into a point that men are just lazy, bro. That's what it comes down to. Like even like when I was in AC Tech, and it used to blow my mind that like I go to some of these houses, and then the women would be like the person who handles it, and it's also like in my head is like, now I don't know if it's me being Caribbean or whatever, but like I always used to blow my mind when the woman would answer the door. You know what I mean? And no disrespect to women, like, oh, they're not allowed to open the door and shit, but it's like I think a man should open the door because like you don't know who the fuck this nigga is. You know what I mean? It's like. And again, no disrespect to women and shit, but it's like this nigga will rock the fuck out of this bitch if this niggas are like really trying to break into your house, you know what I mean? Unless it's like she knows the situation, like boom, she's over here like fucking Mr. and Mrs. Smith backflips, grabs a gun, blasts the nigga, and like you're back to fucking eating crumpets and all that shit, you know? But like it's not a standard situation. The reason a man opens the door is like you're the first line of defense. You're the first one to get hit, get shot, and deal with the situation. Yeah. So it blew my mind off for it. When I get to the house, the woman opens the door. And then another thing is like, I always thought it was funny when a woman would be like, yeah, he doesn't know none of that stuff. Like, just tell me what you need to do and I'll fucking hire somebody else. And it's like, and then you see this cheesy ass dude fucking corporate as fuck in the corner. It's like, bro, he's just a lazy ass dude. Right. It's like the guy's not even fat, like highly obese, that he's incapable to do so. No, he's just a lazy piece of human, you know? Mm-hmm. And
don't we all have different skills?
I know, but I feel like a man should have a certain amount of skills in general. Like a guy should know how to change out a tire. A guy should learn how to change oil. And a girl should learn it too, but it's not her job to do it, you know? Because education is education and knowledge is, you know, it's equal power to anybody. But it's just like fundamentals and stuff, bro. And I feel like guys just don't want to do it, bro. They just don't want to fucking live anymore in a way.
Yeah, I think people kind of always want to rebel, I guess would be the right way to say it, in the wrong direction, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's certain things you should know how to do, but it doesn't mean you have to do it every day.
No,
right?
of course not.
It's like changing the tire, opening the door, like answering. My dad always had a rule. He's like, if anybody came to the house to kill us all, I take the first bullet, you take the second bullet, then your mom.
It's like even when I fucking sleep in my room, bro, like even with my girl, like within general, like when I had a room and I share my kids, my bed was the first bed you approach to. You know what I mean? It's like I would always think like that, bro. It's just like common fundamentals, and it's like it's like an unwritten law that we've almost forgotten. You know?
I think a lot of people think leading is just like telling and directing, but sometimes that's being a boss. Like you just kind of tell people which way to go. But like a leader's kind of with in you with the fight. Like they're lighting the fire under you, within you, around you. They're being the ones going to take it too. Like the boss eats last, the leader eats last, right? They make sure everybody else is good, and then they make sure they're good too. Um, yeah, you see a lot of people kind of get away from that, and like you said, there are a lot of men who are lazy now. Like you should protect your home. You should be able to like you should want to die for the people that you love. That's why I like one of the, I love about fighting. It's like I really get to go fight to put food on the table.
No, and it's
The day
dope.
that comes, like I think I'm fighting for like the next generation. I think I get a like when my parents are in the crowd, like I've been like, man, ain't no way.
And I feel like that's like one of the most attractive things for some women. It's like it blows my mind when some of these women date these cheesy ass dude because like I think it'd be cool. Like it's cool to know the guy that's next to you can kill somebody if you really wanted. Like
Right.
if you really push my man to this point, type of shit. It's like, oh, this nigga will yoke the fuck out of you, bro. You will be gone.
Right.
And like, and in my head, and it's funny because my mom even says that like she said a couple times, like Josh is crazy like me because this motherfucker, he's like this close away from just killing anyone and just like and taking the hit, you know what I mean? But and it's like and that's like something I take with pride, bro, because if it's worth like the greater cause, bro, I'm down to go down for everybody else, you know? And I feel like that's a dope fucking flex for a chick, like, bro. Like it's like fuck, like little baby, not little baby, the baby fucking gets shot up, like gets robbed at Walmart and just blasts the guy. It's like, bro, like he's tiny ass guy and he seems like he's pretty chill, but like, bro, this motherfucker stood up when he had to stand up for it. You know what I mean? It's like imagine if like this, like being with being a chick and your guy gets slapped and he just sits there. It's like, bro, fuck, we're fucked.
Right.
Or like the world comes to an end. You know,
Yeah,
like this
I used to work
motherfucker
at
can't
bars.
provide. You know?
I worked at bars and I've seen that like that's gonna get stepped to. And I think what happens too is like law gets in the way, social media gets in the way. There should be a time where there's respect is respect, right? And like
Yeah.
if you not saying like if a girl slaps a man in public and he hits
Yeah.
her, no, like
Oh no, that's some
is this
shit.
dude right there? Like is her dude? You step outside and like however the fight goes, you shake hands, you get the guy a beer, and you move forward. Like, but nowadays people like the second something pops up, it's video this. I gotta tell about this, and it doesn't become genuine anymore. Where people don't really want their respect; they just want the attention.
Yeah.
And I feel like if people fought like
but even there's a time and place though, like when you can see if a girl stepped out of line, it's like, bro, you deserve that fucking knockout.
Well, I don't think I should, because I mean, I look from my perspective. Right?
Yeah.
If I hit anybody, it's like who's just not ready for it. I could possibly kill him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then it's
yeah.
like now I'm like deal with that, especially like women. Like I should, as a martial artist, as a fighter, as a warrior, like there's a certain people I take fights with. Like any man, any person, like at a time where it's like we step outside, I don't have to shoot you on the stab. Like whatever you fight, whether I'm bloody, you're bloody, it's respect. We move forward, right?
Yeah.
And, like, I want to go home on that, right? And I think there's a time where like that was a standard. Now people just like do whatever they want because they feel like it, but it's not always the right thing to do.
No.
And yeah, like it's just like you should be proud of the person. Maybe somebody's super intellectual. That's great. But also challenge yourself in the areas you're not strong.
No, you have to, bro,
right.
because in my like your intellectualness and like being fucking book smart, like if the shit came to an end today, like how the fuck are you gonna survive right now?
Right.
You
And I
know
think
what
those skills are mappable. Like if you take that same discipline, it helps you become so smart. It could be the same thing that helps create the weapon that you need, right? But it's also to like turning yourself into that when all else is unavailable. And I think there should be a certain standard for that I think we kind of got away from it. And the more that people can kind of like learn to survive. Like I chose to live off the grid for a while. Like I lived in New York in the forest on a farm and all that, just so I can learn, right? And like shout out to
Again, that's like we said, it's fundamentals, bro. Like we should all just know, like
should be one of those things where you like, if everything came down to like, could I take the people?
And it's possible, bro. It's very easy. Like I love how we say if shit came down to it, it's like, bro, that shit is as easy as a light switch. Like the other day I was reading on thing and like this will be like our last conversation because everyone looks mad at us. But bro, the other day is like we talk about global warming and how it's getting so fucking hot, but then the other day is like a volcano in Europe is about to erupt and it can start us into like the next Arctic like big ass winter, you know, like one of those fucking ice ages that it can be winter for the next 5-6 years, bro. And it's like, bro, that shit's so easy to happen. No one knows shit, bro. Like some people like, and it's funny because like sometimes I pray for that shit. I was like, bro, that'd be fucking dope to see and see how far we can get. No, bro. It could. It's so fucking crazy. In my head, it's like, bro, I wish some shit like would go down because then, like, at that point, we'll have like humans of value because only the fucking tough will survive. So, yeah. And it's funny because like not even like to pick on anyone, but my sister's boyfriend one time was like, I know where I'm going if the world comes to an end. And he was like, I'm going to Josh. He has all the guns, and I was like, nigga, that's for me. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I hate when people say, I'm going to Josh's place. It's like, you might get shot on entry, nigga. Because at this point, it's survival state. I even told him, I was like, bro, if shit really hit the fan, I'll take care of your kid. But you guys are on your own. Like, I'll take care of my kids, my direct family, and my mom. And then the rest is out to the shits, my brother. Because, like, the way I see it is, like, I didn't plan for all of them. And they don't have an option, you know? And my brother and my sister and my brother-in-law and my sister kind of took their right in life and was like, bro, it is what it is. So if they're not ready for it or anyone is like, you're fucking shit on a stick, bro. You know what I mean? So, but anyways, bro, like definitely a pleasure fucking having you on this podcast, bro. It was really dope conversation. And again, it's like talk to so many artists and then it's dope to talk to like an actual athlete because like again, I'm not like currently an athlete, but I used to be such a like into that mentality, that lifestyle. I remember there was a point that I would ride my bike fucking 27 miles every day, swim about a mile because I was a diver and all that shit and all that. And like, and it's just like testing your limits of a human being, you know what I mean? And it's dope to actually have to like conversation with someone that even like how you said off the beginning is like I always felt like a gladiator. I remember working at the beach and we used to cut ourselves and have nasty cuts. And I even like busting my body onto a reef and my friends like, yo, you're bleeding so bad, you should get out. Like I can even get deeper, like how I got gangrene, cut my leg surfing, leg was completely flesh bleeding, and everyone's like, yo, get the fuck out. And I just kept surfing. So it's like we always used to tell ourselves, it was like, what a gladiator bitch about it. So it's like this was definitely one like a very fucking dope conversation. But
I love this, man. Your studio is beautiful. Your whole team's great. It's an honor to be here. It's really cool, like just like the whole setup and I really enjoyed this. Probably one of my favorite podcasts I've been on. Like no joke, it's just cool, like having that cool conversation. Like,
hey man, this is the that 2000 show, and that 2020s, bro. Like that 70s shows, but this is that 2000s. You get it? That basement vibe, modern day type shit.
I like
but
I like it.
But I'll let you go ahead and just like go ahead and remind people any like upcoming events you got, like fights, and again make sure like shout out your whoever you want to shout out and kind of like let people know how they can like keep up with you and follow you, you know?
Cool. Yeah. So thanks for having me. Again, my name is Impika Sanganai. I'm a professional fighter fighting the PFL. And my next fight's August 4th in San Antonio, Texas. Be the semifinals, right? So that fight and then the world title fight. So I'm very grateful. You can follow me on Instagram, IMPAK5, IMPAK5. King Imp on Twitter. I'm not on it much, but I probably should get on it more. Impa's Refinery is my business, and Chilobo's Trek. You could find all my motorcycle adventures, crazy ideas, things I probably shouldn't be doing. But if you want to watch that too, feel free. And shout out to my gyms, Kill Cliff FC in Deerfield and DK Fitness Miami. Like, and all my coaches, I mean, I just want to say thank you to everybody. Thank God, my family for just having me on here. Like, I'm living my dream, and I really appreciate you on the podcast.
Chase your dreams all day, right? Sure. All day. Wouldn't do it any other way. But again, guys, this is Talk About with Lust. I'm your host, Lust, and appreciate you coming through, my brother.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
And we out. We out.
Awesome.
Thank you. More fire.
That's fun. That's cool.
Hell yeah, man.
Appreciate
you.
I just tell when you started.
Yeah, you can tell.
Can't lie to you.